Hello. So I'm really glad to be shooting this video today with a professional. So shout out to the professional behind the camera. Ooh. Anyway, so today I want to talk about what it means to say the work of our hands is valuable, and to find value in the things that we produce and the things that we do. Recently, I read an article from I think it was in the New York Times. I was talking about an influencer house. I think I posted it on my IG actually. And in it, one of the lines that really stuck out to me was that the influencer house, which was in Atlanta, which everyone knows is essentially the black mecca now anyway. It used to be PG County, but you know, it's fine, whatever. Anyway, that the influencer house in Atlanta would be a better bet for Hollywood because these will be stars that are not as high maintenance. And there was a lot that was unsaid in that statement about what it means to be high maintenance, right? You think of somebody like Taylor Swift saying that, you know, picking a fight with Spotify to say, hey, you can't just like use, you know, you take my music and charge me this little amount. Like, I'm really willing to fight against this. As opposed to others who are like, well, we're grateful for the opportunity, we're just happy to be here, and we're glad that we have a chance to be in your presence and to put our music out there, right? And one person being seen as bratty, as demanding, as, you know, wanting too much, etc., when all she was really trying to do was advocate for herself. And I think that implicit in the comment about how the Atlanta house would be less fussy is this idea that sometimes when we look at the work of our hands as black people, we are sometimes can be so grateful for the opportunity that we miss out on the fact that sometimes we're being exploited or we're not being given our full due. So what does it look like then in a place where that's maybe saturated with talent? Or, you know, if I throw a stone, I can meet a rapper. If I throw a stone, I can meet a basketball player. So why would I, you know, stand up for myself in a world where by standing up for myself, I can be easily replaced? But once we as a set of people, wherever we are in our geographies, take a stance that says the work of our hands is valuable. It's valuable because the things that come from our collective mind, the thing that comes from our collective ancestry, the things that come from our collective set of experiences have a value greater than or equal to or as beneficial as the next person, and therefore should not be discounted, should not be, you know, put on the shelf, should not be ignored. Saying that and having that mindset is something that if we all adopted, there would be no replacements. There's no widget, right? You cannot replace us. You cannot put us in a box. And so something that I have said a lot is the work of our hands is valuable. If it comes from our collective mind, if it comes from our collective energy, our collective experience, it is worthwhile and it should not be discounted. It's not buy one, get one free. It's not, you know, a half off 50% sale because it's black owned, black made, black value chain. It's not cheaper or less important. It is just as good and just as valuable. And so I think that in addition to healing from our collective drama, it's also placing greater value on the things that we produce, placing greater value on the things that we create, placing greater value on the set of experiences that we put out into the world. Somebody actually made a comment, and I really appreciated this comment. He was saying that one thing about indigenous IP is that we need not only own the IP, but also own the platforms and technology. And I completely agree with that. That when we get to a place, I mean, we've seen a situation, for example, where Google is out of commission for a day. So what happens if Google or WordPress or Shopify or whatever is out? What do we do then, right? You know, so it's not to say we shouldn't use those things or we shouldn't leverage on these technologies, but it's to say that we should create opportunities for ourselves to have options, like to have avenues that respect and value our ecosystem. Like if you're on the continent and there are specific modalities, maybe mobile money being one of them, maybe the sort of fractures in the supply chain being one of them. Does the technology or does the platform really respond to that? And so all of this, again, is still connected to the idea that the work of our hands is valuable. If it's valuable, then we should create things that showcase that value and that are priced and that are valued at the right place, not discounted and not half off. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today. And yeah, so Merry Christmas.